Hey guys, welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you how to play a fingerstyle arrangement of Get You the Moon. So let's get into it. So first of all, we are in standard tuning and you need to put a capo on the 4th fret of your guitar. All the tabs for this lesson are available on my Patreon page. You can check out the link down below. I've divided this song into 5 different parts. We have the intro, the verse, the pre-chorus, chorus and the bridge. So let's start with the intro. It sounds like this. So the intro is really short. We have 3 different chords which repeat. The first one is this one, which is an F major chord shape. So you're playing the 1st fret of the low E string, the 3rd fret of the A string, the 3rd fret of the D string, and the 2nd fret of the G string. And you start by playing the E string, A string, D string, and the G string with a roll. Like that, but faster. So you just play the roll once and let it ring, like that. And after that you change the chord to an A minor, just like that. You're playing the 2nd fret of the D string, the 2nd fret of the G string, and the 1st fret of the B string. You also have the open A string there, so you start the roll from the A string. You play the A string, D string, G string, and the B string with your right hand, like that. And also just let it ring once. And after that you have this chord, which is really just a part of a G major chord. So you're playing this. You're playing the 3rd fret of the low E string, and you also have the open D string, G string, and the B string. So now you're plucking the low E string, D string, G string, and the B string with the right hand, like that. And you play that last G major chord for twice the amount of time, so it stays for 2 bars. So if you count it from the start, it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you play that without counting out loud, it should sound like this. And all you have to do after that is you just have to repeat. So if you play the whole intro together, it sounds like this. After that we have the verse, which sounds like this. So there we start with an F major add 9 chord. If you know how to play an F major chord, it's like this. You have the 1st fret of the low E string with the thumb, the 3rd fret of the D string, 2nd fret of the G string, and the 1st fret of the B string. And now all you have to do is you have to add this note on the 3rd fret of the high E string there. So you have this now. So just adding that note to an F major chord, which is making it an F major add 9. And for this song, we won't be needing this note, so you can let this go. You can just play this part by plucking the low E string, G string, B string, and the high E string, like that. So what you need to play sounds like this. So you start by playing a roll like this. So you're playing the low E string, G string, B string, and the high E string with the roll. And don't get confused by me holding on to this note, because I'm not playing anything on the D string even though I'm holding on to that. So you have this. Right after the roll, you lift this note up, so now you have the open high E string. And you play the open high E string 4 times. So you have this. So there, just pay attention to the rhythm on the high E string when you play it 4 times. It's like that. Let's do it slowly. And if you play it from the start, you get that. And after that, the next part sounds like this. So there, right after you're done playing this, you have this part now, where you play the 3rd fret of the B string once with your little finger, and then you plug the open A string and the open high E string, like that. So you end up with this. One more time, really slow. And after that, you have this part. So this part starts off like this, where you play the 3rd fret of the B string again, and then you play the 1st fret of the B string and hammer on to the 3rd fret. And then you play this, where you're playing the open high E string, then the 3rd fret of the B string. So the whole thing sounds like this. And one more time, really slow. And after that, all you need to do is you just have to add this note, the bass note on the 3rd fret of the low E string. So you get this. So the whole part sounds like this from the start. One more time, really slow. And in the verse, you have to play this part 3 times. So you have this. And the last time you have this. So there you start with a regular F major chord instead of playing an F major 9. So you don't have this note anymore, you just have an open high E string. So you start by playing this, where you plug the 1st fret of the B string once, and then you plug the chord. You're plugging the low E string, G string and the B string together. And then you have this part, where you play the 3rd fret of the B string, and then you play the open high E string 3 times. So you get this. And after that you have this part, which is the exact same thing that you played before. On the previous part. So this whole new part sounds like this. So if you play the entire verse, it sounds like this. And after that we have the pre-chorus, which sounds like this. So the very first part sounds like this. So there you have an F major chord, and you start by playing the first fret of the B string once, and then you have this part. So there you add in this note on the third fret of the high E string, and then you plug the low E string and the third fret of the high E string together, and then you pull off from this note to the open high E string, like that. So you get this. One more time. And after that you have this part. So right after the pull off, you bring back this note on the third fret of the high E string and you play it once. And after that you lift it up and then you do this, where you slap and you ring the chord at the same time. So if you don't know that technique, there you're basically ringing the chord with the tip of the nail of your index finger like this. You do this motion, like that. And at the same time you make this slapping sound by hitting your thumb on the lower strings to get that percussive sound. So you have to do that together, like that. So you get this. One more time, really slow. And if you play it up to speed, it sounds like this. And after that you have this part. So there you have to play the third fret of the B string, and then you play the open high E string. And then you have this. And after that you have to play the open A string, and while playing that you switch to an A minor chord here. So you play the open A string once, and then you play the open high E string 3 times, and then you strum the chord with a slap, like that. So the whole thing sounds like this. One more time, really slow. And if you play it with the first part, it sounds like this. And after that you have this part. So right after you reach this part, you have this now, where you play the third fret of the low E string first, and then you play this. So there you're adding this note on the third fret of the B string, and you also have the open high E string. So what you need to play sounds like this. So you start by ringing the chord with a slap, and then you play the E string, then the B string, then the E string, and the B string again. Like that. I'll play the whole thing again. So if I play the whole thing from the start really slowly, it sounds like this. And after that you just repeat this one more time, but there's this slight variation. It sounds like this. So you start by playing this part, which is the same, and then you have this part, where the only difference is you're playing the high E string a few more times. So previously, the last time you were playing this, but this time you're playing this part. So you're just playing the high E string 2 more times. like that. So the whole thing becomes this. And after that you have this part. So there again, like before, you start by playing the note on the 3rd fret of the low E string, and then you play this. So you start by playing the 3rd fret of the B string, and then you play the open high E string, and then you slap and ring the chord, and then you play the note on the 3rd fret of the B string 2 times, and then pull off to the 1st fret. So the whole thing sounds like this. So if you play the whole thing slowly, it sounds like this. So if I play the entire pre-chorus, it sounds like this. And after that we have the chorus, so it sounds like this. So the very first part sounds like this. So there you have an F major chord with the high E string open. So you start by playing the note on the 1st fret of the B string 3 times, and then you have this part, where you first play the bass note on the 1st fret of the low E string, and then you do this, where you're plucking the G string and the B string together 2 times, like that. And after that you have this part. So there you do this. So you slap and ring the chord all the way up to the high E string, and then you play the high E string again, like that. One more time, really slow. So from the start you get this. And after that you have this part. So there you're just adding this note in the end, the note on the 3rd fret of the B string. So right after you're done playing that part, while the chord is still ringing, you have to play that note there on the 3rd fret, like that. So far you get this. And after that you have this part. So there you're changing to an A minor chord and you're playing this, where you're plucking the A string and the high E string together, and then you do a slap, and then you play this, where you play the 1st fret of the B string and then pull off to the open B string. So the whole thing sounds like this. So far from the start you have this. And after that you have this part. So there you switch from the A minor chord to a G major chord. So now you have to play the note on the 3rd fret of the low E string first, and then you do this. So if I break it down, you're playing the 3rd fret of the low E string and the 3rd fret of the B string there, and you first ring the chord with a slap all the way up to the high E string, and then you play this, where you're playing the E string, B string, E string, B string again. So the whole thing sounds like this. So if I play it from the start really slow, it sounds like this. And the next part sounds like this. So there you start off almost the same way. You have this. So the only difference is in this part where you pluck these two notes only once instead of twice, which you did before. So if I play it really slow, it sounds like this. So if I break it down again, you're playing the B string 3 times. And then you're playing the bass note on the low E string. And then you plug these two notes. So you end up with this. And after that you have this part, where you slap and ring the chord all the way up till the high E string, and then you play the high E string again. So you get this. And after that you just add this note in the end. Like that. And the next part sounds like this. So there you start by switching to the A minor chord again. And you play that where you plug the A string and the high E string, both of which are open first. And then you slap. And then you play this note on the B string 2 times. And then you have this part. So there, right after you played this, you have to hold on to that note on the first fret of the B string so that it keeps ringing. And then you have this, where you play the note on the 3rd fret of the low E string, and then you play the note on the 1st fret of the B string again. So from the start you have this. So if I play it from the very beginning of this part, it sounds like this. And to end we have this, which you played before. So there you bring in this note on the 3rd fret of the B string, and you also have the open high E string. So you play this. So like before, you ring the chord all the way up to the high E string with a slap, and then you play this on the E string and the B string. And if I play the whole chorus from the start till the end, it sounds like this. So that's the whole chorus. After that we have the pre-chorus and the chorus again, which repeat. And after that we have the bridge, which sounds like this. So this is the part where you have to play a few melodies on top and the chords keep changing. So the very first part sounds like this. So there you start with an F major add 9 chord, which you played before in the pre-chorus. So you start by playing this. You play the B string first, the note there on the 1st fret of the B string, and then you have this. So there you have the first fret of the low E string and the third fret of the high E string. So you start by plucking them together and then you pull off this note to the open high E string. And then you bring it back in and play the note and then pull off again. So the whole thing sounds like this. So from the start we have this. And then you change the chord to an A minor, which you now play like this. Only two notes. You have the open A string and the first fret of the B string together. And the same with the G major, where you play the third fret of the low E string and the open B string together. So from the start you have this. And after that the next part sounds like this. So right after you reach this part, while that chord is still ringing, you do a pull off from the first fret of the high E string to the open high E string. And then you play the open high E string again. And then you change the chord to this, where you're playing an F major chord, you're just playing this part of it, and you also have the open high E string on top. So you plug the E string, G string, B string and the high E string together. Like that. So from the start you have this. And right after you played this chord, you have this part. So right after you plugged the chord, you play the note on the third fret of the B string. And then you change to the A minor. And then to the G major. So if I play that part really slowly, it sounds like this. And after that you just repeat this part. And there in the end you have this part. So there you pull off from the third fret of the B string to the first fret of the B string. And then you play this, where you're plucking the first fret of the low E string and the second fret of the G string together. So you have this. And then you change to the A minor chord. And then finally to the G major. So I'll play that last part once really slow. It sounds like this. So that's the entire bridge section. I'll play the whole thing once. It sounds like this. And after the bridge section, the song goes back into the pre-chorus and then to the chorus again and then ends. So let's discuss the song structure. So we start with the intro, then we have the verse. After that we have the pre-chorus and then the chorus. After that we have the pre-chorus and the chorus again, followed by the bridge. And then we have the pre-chorus and the chorus again one more time, and then the song ends. And that's the whole song. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this helped. All the tabs for this lesson are available on my Patreon page. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, then subscribe to my channel. Also, if you have any questions or requests for song tutorials, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.